Welcome to the Rattler podcast. I am Victoria. I am the editor-in-chief.
And I am Rena Estala. I'm the managing editor.
And today we're going to have a special little podcast episode for Halloween where we're going to share some scary stories, some that we've heard on campus, some that have happened to us, and some that are just legends, like really cool legends that we want to share with y'all that you may not know about, but that's really, really common in like our culture in San Antonio. Okay, so we can go ahead and get started.
So, a scary story of mine, which happened generations ago, where in Mexico in like 1930s, 1940s, my dad's grandpa was like going to clubs in Mexico, like drinking with women, and it was to the point where he would cheat on his own wife.
Your grandpa?
My grandpa?
Oh,
no,
okay.
My dad's grandpa.
Oh, okay. So your great grandpa.
My great grandpa
would
cheat on his wife when he would go to clubs and all that. There was this one instance where he went to the club, or he went drinking with some buddies, and he saw this like beautiful girl, and he was like I think the story went that like he was like talking to her. Something happened where the woman got angry, and he cursed him. And the curse was, I had to text my dad about this just to make sure, that my dad's grandfather's chin was bent and it was touching his chest. And I think he was in like agony pain, something was going on. He was screaming, so when he came home, like my dad's grandma found him like in pain, screaming, and like having this like weird chin, like that was like deformed. And my dad's grandma at the time found a witch, and she performed, let me see what he said. She did like several steps to release the spell, and the last step that she told my grandmother, or my dad's grandmother, that someone is going to die to heal your husband. And it turned out my mom's younger sister was killed years later.
Oh my gosh.
And after that happened, the witch was leaving, or this lady was leaving, and she, like my dad's grandmother and my dad's mom, which my grandma at the time was like, let us walk you out. And when they lived in Mexico, they lived in a corner, so they had like a lamppost there. They walked her out, and they stopped on the lamppost. The lady said, like, turn around and like go home, like I can walk myself. And my dad's grandma was so insistent, like, no, like let us walk you home because like you did this thing for her husband. And she's like, no, turn around and go. So my dad's grandma listened. My grandma, who was about like 6 or 7 at the time, didn't turn up, like she didn't like listen. And from what my grandma told my dad, she had this bottle of oil in her purse in a satchel that she carried, and this lady wore all black and had like black shoes. She tells my grandmother not, or to turn around, and they both turn away, where this lady put a little bit of oil under her armpits, and she took out a broom out of her purse, and she said something before she flew away. My dad hasn't read it out. I don't want to say it because the first time I read it, it gave me chills.
Yeah.
I'm like, huh. So that's pretty scary.
Yeah.
It's like 8 or 9 sentence or word sentence that she said. And after like the witch or the lady told my dad's grandma somebody's gonna die, like after my grandma's younger sister died, my dad's grandpa was made whole shortly after. A couple years later, the aunt passed away after like a drug overdose or something like that happened. And they were like, why?
Yeah.
what's going on? This is like so weird. And I think it really comes like the point where this saying goes like a life for a life.
Mm-hmm.
Like to save my dad's grandpa's life, a life had to be taken.
Mm-hmm. That is so scary.
It is, and I'm like, that happened like recent generations.
Yeah, like not that long ago.
That is like so scary.
And you said this happened in Mexico?
In like 1930s, 1940s.
Okay, yeah, because that's something I also wanted to talk about because I have noticed that a lot of, especially in like
these
Mexican culture,
happen in like Mexican cultures.
It happens a lot in Mexico, like, 'cause that's what I've heard a lot, and I don't know why, but a lot of like in the Mexican culture, like there's a lot of superstitions. There's a lot of like
don't bring a broom to a new house you moved into. Or else or something like that.
Yeah, like, and I actually do want to talk about that because I think it applies. It ends up being something that I practice too. Like, not practice, but it's something that I think about. Like, when I moved into my dorm, my bed was facing the mirror, and I have heard
it's a superstition not to put a mirror in front of your
bed where you're sleeping. Yeah, so I remember that I literally like put a curtain on my mirror so that I can like close it and so that I don't like open a portal or something, because like I mean, I don't know if it's true, but like I'd rather not risk it, like, just because I've heard of it so many times. So it's definitely something that I like to not think that it's real, but I'm like, you know what, I've heard it so many times that I'm just gonna be careful, and I'm gonna like.
It's actually funny because years later, like this was like this, so it's 2024. 2 years ago, my dad was on TikTok. He was on like the witch talk, which is the witchy side of TikTok. And
I didn't even know that was a thing.
It is. It's actually pretty cool, but also scary.
Yeah.
Because you don't know like if they're actually practicing or if they know like what they're doing.
Yeah.
But another thing is that when my dad was on TikTok, he was watching a live from this lady, and she was like, "Oh yeah, we put something on our brooms so that we can fly." And my dad comments, "Oh, is it like some type of oil?" And then the lady responds like, I think she says something like, "How do you know that?"
What?
And I think that just confirms, oh wait, that does make sense. Like, it is true. And it's like,
how can an oil make your broom fly? I don't know. I mean, it's so interesting. I don't know.
I think like humans learn about nature and the laws of nature. People that practice, I don't know if witchcraft is the right answer to it. But they manipulate nature. They have the ability to manipulate nature to something where we don't understand.
Yeah. And that's another thing I wanted to talk about too, because I know you mentioned that your great grandfather was like cursed by a witch, and then they brought in another witch and to cure him. But I feel like in Mexico, at least, I've heard a lot that they're known as curanderas, like good witches.
Yeah.
There's like bad witches and then good witches.
It's like Harry Potter.
Yeah, and like the good like the good witches. I know, but they're known as like curanderas, like they cure you. So that's something really cool. Like, but it's kind of scary too. Like,
it is.
Honestly, like even like in Mexico a lot, you see like people wear these bracelets that are like
bracelet,
yes,
and they're blessed.
And it's like to prevent evil eye and stuff like that. And I don't know if you have if in your family they do that. Oh, is that like an
evil eye on me? Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It hasn't broken, so.
Oh, okay, that's good. That's good. Because that's another thing. Like, apparently, if it breaks, that means that someone tried to like give you evil eye. Yeah. I have never had one of those. But I don't know. I'm kind of. What do you think of that? Because I feel like when I play into that, like I'm calling bad things.
I feel like, I mean, it's a protection spell. It's like when you're doing the egg, like when my grandma would do to me, like she would do the egg on me, and she's like, "Oh, are you sick? Oh, let me just do the egg on you." And I had 2 other friends that did the egg, and apparently when you put like crack the egg in warm water, if it spikes, if like the yolk starts spiking, you have bad ojo. And it's like you have to like flush it out. And it's like, it's so weird, like just using an egg to like
Yeah,
See
because
if,
I've
who
seen,
cursed you.
yeah, like in my family, I've never like done the egg thing before, but it's like in my family, it's like a thing like where maybe you have a big headache or you're feeling sick, you're like someone was giving me evil eye, so then they rub like an egg. But I've noticed that in my family they pray while they do it. They say a prayer while they're
rubbing the egg,
and then they crack it, and then it says if someone, like, again, if it's spiked, it means someone tried to, like,
yeah,
someone was like giving you evil eye and stuff like that. And then you start to feel better because you just rubbed it off of you. And I've never like done that before. Like, I kind of just let it, like, if I feel sick, I just let it pass on. But I think that's so interesting. Like, I don't know, do you think it's psychological, or do you think like it's real? Like,
I don't think it's psychological, just because in like Mexican culture, like you pray like when something bad happens.
That's
like,
true, yeah.
in Mexican culture, religion is a huge thing,
mm-hmm.
especially like going to church and like getting holy water, like just in case to like
Mm-hmm.
if you move into a new house, bless the house first before you move in.
Yeah.
And yeah, like it's hard understanding, or it's hard like knowing like like that can't be true, because like that doesn't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to experience it in order to understand it.
Yeah.
So it's not something that you can just say like, oh yes or no.
Mm-hmm.
Like you kind of have to go through it to understand it more.
Yes.
Which is a scarier part.
Mm-hmm. And no, that's so true. And I feel like, so again, we were talking about like all these things like in Mexican culture. We're right next to Mexico. We're in Texas. I feel like it also jumps into Texas, like it spreads into Texas. And there's also a lot of legends here in Texas. And I wanted to talk about one of them. I don't know if you have been to this place, but there's like a railroad track. It's like haunted.
The Red Bridge.
I don't know about that one. A Red Bridge?
So.
Is that a different one?
It's a red bridge, and there's a train track on it.
Oh, okay.
I think.
Okay. I don't know about the bridge.
Okay.
But I visited a train track, and there was like a line of cars behind me because they all wanted to see it. And I went with my family, just because we've heard so much about it. And apparently, these kids like were run over. Like, it was a school bus, and they were going across the train track, and the train came and like ran over them. You know, so now these kids try to save people. Like, every time they try to cross the train track, they try to push the car, to like help them get over so that the train doesn't get them. And so if they say that if you drive there, like, you can feel your car being pushed. And so my family and I, we put like baby powder
to see if there was like handprints.
There weren't any handprints, but like I was like playing around and I like put a handprint. Yeah. But have you ever like been there? Have you heard of that?
I've heard of it, but I haven't been there because it's like
scary.
It's scary, but also like you don't know. Like, a lot of like YouTubers have been there and they start faking a lot of stuff. So
That's true.
It's like what's actually real.
That's true. Yeah, and that's one of the legends that I've heard from San Antonio specifically. Are there any? I know you're from San Antonio. Like, is there any other? Are there any other? I don't know
if this was in San Antonio or Mexico, but a legend where this girl she was a teenager, and she, like, her mom said like don't go out, like it like it's not good for you, and then she goes out to a bar, and she meets this like handsome dude, like mouth watering, like eyes like sparkling man, and she goes to dance with him, and as she's dancing with him, she looks down. She notices the guy has like hooves for feet.
I've heard of that one.
Yeah, and it's like, so like she starts screaming, and like something happens. I don't know if she died or if she like got safe and went home. But the club burned down as the guy was exiting. He had a goat face. Like, he had horns of a goat, and it was like so weird. I don't remember if this was in Mexico or
I'm thinking Mexico. Yeah.
Okay, so in Mexico. Yeah. But it's like,
no,
like, just looking at someone like with like goat feet is scary in itself.
Oh, I know. There's so many legends in Mexico, and obviously there's like La Llorona. Like, I don't know if you've heard of that one. They even made a movie about it. There's another one that a lot of it happens, like, I've noticed a lot of them are like when clubs and stuff. Like, there was one where like a man he was a truck driver. he went to go, or maybe I'm wrong. No, it wasn't a club, sorry. So it was like a truck driver, and it also happened in Mexico. And he was driving, and he saw this woman walking on the street, and she like, he was like, oh, like maybe she needs a ride, and she did. She's like, can you drive me to my house? And then she drove the girl to the house, dropped her off, and then he like throughout the drive, like they like talked a lot. Like he ended up really liking her, and so he stopped by to around the same time, like by her house, and she was there, and I don't know, they went to hang out. I think that's when they went to the club and stuff like that. And then he went to go drop her off, and both times she was wearing like this one sweater. And he's like, I'm gonna go the next day. He went in the morning to go pick her up, and he went to go knock on the door, and like the parents opened the door, and they were like, oh, like who are you? And he was like, oh, like he asked for the girl, because he had been hanging out with her, and he really liked her. And then the parents were like, oh, like she died a while ago, like what are you saying? And then he's like, oh, like they took her to the grave, and the sweater was there, but
she died wearing that sweater then.
Probably, maybe, I don't know, but that's one thing that I've heard of. There's just so many legends.
There's a lot going on. It's like it's scary just to like see like all this happen, especially like in Mexico.
Yes.
And it's crazy.
No, yeah. So we talked a little bit about Mexico. Then we moved to Texas. Have you heard of any from St. Mary's, like specifically? Because I know I've heard of you.
I actually do. So last semester, I had 3 friends that lived in Doherty. And when they entered the dorm, it was very heavy. Like, it was hard, like, to breathe, and they had issues just, like, as soon as you, like, stepped, like, 3 feet in, instantly your heart dropped. And it was like, we don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
And I have a friend who, she can sense ghosts. Like, it's just a feeling that she has. And when she, like, feels this, she knows, like, oh, shit, like...
Yeah.
Like, something is here. And, like, they both leave. But they didn't notice it. It got heavier until, like, days went by. Apparently there was these ghosts because they started moving stuff around their dorm. Like,
the ghosts
throwing stuff in their dorm.
The ghosts would throw stuff around?
Yes.
Like while they were in there?
Like, their chargers would go missing, their phones would be misplaced. And it got so bad that they were there for like a week. And I got a call. Or actually, no. I had a feeling because they would tell me like, oh yeah, like we had to put salt around our beds just to make sure like nothing would happen to us.
Or so what does salt do?
So salt is what like helps. It's a protection thing.
Oh, okay.
I know that if you put it on the cracks of your window, your front door, making a circle like around your bed, they won't, like they're not allowed to enter in.
Really? I didn't know that. Okay.
And like I just had a feeling like something happened, so I called them like 12 in the morning saying, hey, like, are y'all okay? And then they're like, no, pick us up right now.
Oh my god.
Like they were crying, like pick us up.
They were
right
crying?
Now. Crying. And I'm like, so I woke up my dad, hey, we gotta go to campus like right now.
Yeah.
So I had to pick up them, and they were scared. They were like, well, we don't, like, if something is attached to us, we don't want to bring it to your house.
Oh.
And they were so worried about that. I'm like, I have a dog. Because like dogs can sense something when something is not right.
Oh, so it was very recent when this happened?
It was like last semester.
Oh, you had a dog last semester?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It was my dad's dog.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm like, I have a dog, so it's able to sense it. And they're like, okay, like they feel much better. So they went in my car, and we went to the gas station, like make sure like they ate, like they were able to eat anything to drink, because they weren't eating or drinking during that time.
Why didn't they tell like the RA or anything?
I mean, who would believe you?
I guess so.
I think that's also another thing, like who would believe you? So it's like, again, you have to experience it to actually know like something is wrong. And like I took them to my house, they were sleeping, and they were still like shaking.
Oh my god.
Like they had like a hard time sleeping.
Did they tell you like what happened?
They were like, they had scratches on them. It was that bad.
Oh my gosh.
Like, you can see scratches on their arms, on their backs.
Oh my gosh.
And it was like, crazy. No way. Like, from what I've heard, if a ghost lives in a certain area for a long time, or if they're angry, they'll start getting physical. Like, they'll start moving stuff. They would start scratching you.
Oh my gosh.
And they were like, we don't know what's going on. Like, we have to get out. So after that, they like went to the priest, asked for holy water, and like the priest to do like a blessing in the dorm.
Okay.
And I think it wasn't until after that where things finally started to calm down.
That's good.
But just seeing like scratch marks, like when I picked them up, is like,
yeah,
that is like, no,
that's
cannot.
Scary. Oh my gosh. Do you know if like people are still staying there in that dorm?
I don't know. I don't think in that specific corner. I mean, I would assume so since it got blessed.
Yeah.
But before my friends moved into the dorm, nobody lived in there for like 3 years.
Really?
Yeah.
So maybe there's a history with that dorm.
There is. And I know in Doherty, there's an exorcism that happened in there.
Yeah.
Part of the dorm had to get blocked off.
And you know, I've heard that in many places on campus, like even on Treadway, you know, because like our school is like, the priests live here,
and we have
brothers.
We have like a graveyard.
Yeah, we have a cemetery here, like, so I have heard a few things, definitely. Luckily, nothing has ever like happened to me, so that like, but I've heard that some people in their rooms, like, who was it? I think this one girl told me that she had a cross in Founders. She had a cross like on her wall, and that it was backwards when she woke up. Like, it was like upside down, and I was like, no, like that's scary. Like,
I'm transferring to another school. You know why? I
know, like that's so scary. I feel like, okay, so we talked about Mexico, then Texas, and on campus. I do have like one kind of scary story that happened to me, and then I don't know if you have any too, but I guess I can start sharing that. So like, I mean, I haven't really had luckily any crazy experiences, but there was one time when like I was sleeping in my room, and my legs were being pulled a lot. Like, I would go to sleep and I would wake up with something pulling my feet, and I was like, who did that? Like, and no one was in my room. So I was like, okay, that like maybe I imagined that. So I would keep going to sleep, and it would happen again and again. And I remember like it would happen late at night, and I had school, like I was in high school, and I was like, I have school in the morning, like I can't be getting woken up by something pulling my feet. But it's really weird because the first time it happened, I was super scared that I ran to my mom, and I like stayed.
I stepped on her bed.
Yes.
Save me.
No, yeah, but when it kept happening, I kind of just got used to it. And I was like, okay, it's pulling my feet. Let me just go back to sleep.
Pennywise is pulling my feet.
I'm telling you, like, it was only like 1 foot. Like, I'd be going to sleep, and like it's like I would be dragged with 1 foot, and I was like, oh my gosh, what's happening?
Wait, like you're laying down. Would it drag?
No, like it wouldn't even like drag me slowly. It would be super fast, like that I would wake up. Yeah, I would be like, oh my gosh, like yeah. So I was really weird, and I remember. At first I was scared, right? It happened so many times that I was used to it that I just kept sleeping. But then one day I got really tired of it that I was like...
And you kicked it?
No, I remember no. I remember I woke up and I was like, leave me alone. Like, I literally said, leave me alone. And then I went to sleep, and it never happened again. My feet were never pulled again. And... okay.
I'm hoping it's like a spasm, like a muscle spasm.
Okay, that's what I was gonna say, because I thought about it and I was like, maybe it was
so often.
Well, it's because I was like, maybe because I used to have a problem because in high school I would work out a lot. Like, I was in every sport. I did track,
so
cross country, so I ran miles and miles every day. I did soccer. I was running all the time. I did basketball. I also did dance and cheerleading, so like I did everything. And I remember that I felt it a lot in my knees and my legs. Like, they were starting to get like really sore and like also like worn down and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So I had to wear like a knee brace, things like that, because I was just working out too much. And I thought about it and I was like, you know what, maybe it is something with my muscles. Like, maybe like my foot is just like what, I don't know how to say it. Like, it's just
like
acting
like a spasm. But for you to go stop doing it, and then it stops.
Like, yeah, it didn't happen.
That's weird.
That's what I'm saying. I was thinking about it and I was like, okay, maybe I'll just believe that it was something with my muscles.
Because some child was pulling her leg.
I was like, maybe it was that. It could have been that, or it could have been, I don't know, like, because it did stop after I said that. But I don't know. What do you think? Do you think that like scary stuff can be explained through science, or do you like? What do you think about that? Because
I mean, if you look at like paranormal activity, you see like temperature sensors. What is it called? Temperature readings, or like thermal readings. Like if a room drops, like if a room is cold, it's like 5 degrees. It's like something is here.
Yeah.
If like I don't know like how far science wise, but there's always like you can sense it. So it's like through natural instinct, you can feel like whether something is there. Like when you enter in a room, your heart will drop.
So like you
and
do
it's
believe
like hard to breathe in there.
Yeah. So like you believe in like ghosts. Like you don't think that maybe it's like just science, like so that explains it. Like you think there's like okay, that makes sense.
Because it's also like the haunted bridge. Like
well, like when I went, there was no like there weren't any handprints. Like I made one, but like but maybe for some people it shows up. I don't really want to. Would you want to see a ghost or like experience something like that? I really wouldn't want to.
No, because when I had my two friends experience that, they were like, no, never again, never again. And it's like just seeing their reaction. It's like and like scratches on them. It's like
oh yeah,
no.
I don't know if you've ever seen the movie The Sixth Sense. Have you ever seen that movie?
Yes, with what's his face?
I forgot his name. He's a really good actor.
He played in Fifth Element.
Yeah. And so that movie, I thought it was really interesting because it shows how like ghosts can try to get your attention, and sometimes they harm you, but like at the end of the day, like they want you to help them in some way. They're not doing it just for fun. They're doing it more like they need your help.
Yes, it was Bruce Willis.
Oh,
yes.
okay. You're right.
Couldn't think of it.
Yes. Well, that's what I saw in the movie, and I was like, okay, well, maybe like we get scared, but maybe it's just like they want you to help them solve something here on this earth.
It's most likely that, because there's always like if someone died from a murder, someone like either like bring them justice or like take me to the afterlife because they're stuck in this world.
So I thought that was interesting. So that made me think that maybe ghosts are just like people that need some help to get to the other side,
and they need therapy.
Yeah.
No, like I don't think a lot of people notice this, but a lot of children see ghosts because
a lot of innocent
their imagination is just so wild. But it's also easy for them to connect to, I guess, the world of the natural. I don't think that's the right term, but it's easy for them to connect to nature themselves. So like children, like in the movie Sixth Sense, the kid can see ghosts.
Yeah.
And it's like, who around him can know that?
Yeah.
Nobody believes a kid and think, oh, he's just some crazy kid. And then these like bunch of kids like lock him up in a closet. And like that's when he starts getting attacked by like all these ghosts, or like all these beings, not even beings, like I don't want to say monsters, but like these things. And like you see scratches all over him. Like once his mom takes him out of the closet, and it's like something is going on.
Like it's really weird because like they say like some kids can see it, dogs can see them too, or sense them. That also reminds me that in Mexico, like there's like this, and even back to the Native American culture, like dogs are seen as like they can guide spirits to the afterlife. And then like you see that Coco. I was gonna say like in Coco, like like they have the spirit dog. So that's something interesting too, that like I wonder how, I wonder why, and things like that. Like the dogs have that other sense and they can like guide the people. I don't know, I think it's so interesting.
But why dogs? Like why can't cats do it? Is it because
even then I feel like cats also are seen as like they can also sense, but I'm not sure.
I know in cultures like in Egypt, cats were praised. And in Turkey, there's an island, I think it's in Turkey, somewhere in like the Middle East, where there's an island of just cats.
Really? Oh,
and
wow.
in Turkey, cats were so praised
Mm.
because they killed mice. Like, they were able to help Turkish people because they were able to kill mice so that they wouldn't, like, die from the plague or anything, like, any diseases that rats would carry or mice would carry. It's like, they're praised for, like, helping humans, but I don't think I've ever seen cats being praised for, like, I guess interacting with ghosts.
Yeah, that's true. And that also reminds me, have you ever heard of, like, the superstition that, like, black cats are bad luck? Like, have you ever heard of that?
Yes, and in some countries, they're praised.
Yeah, so that's also really weird to see that distinction. Like, some people really like cats and some people don't. Like, they think they're bad luck.
Why is it that, like, black cats are seen as bad luck if it passes in your path?
Yeah, I've also heard of that. Like, I've seen people, like, if it passes in their path, they put, like, a little cross. Like,
why?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Why is it only targeted black cats?
I have no idea where it started. Maybe because of, like, witches. Like, they're seen as, like...
Oh, cats are affiliated with witches.
Maybe, like, specifically black cats. Like, you see that on Halloween and stuff like that. I think. I don't know where it started, but I've definitely heard of it. So it's definitely been passed along for a while.
Yeah.
But do you have any... Oh, you just share your... Do you have any, like, personal...
I don't have any personal. I just... Luckily, I haven't experienced any. I'm just gonna leave it at that.
It's good.
Luckily.
Yeah. I mean, again, like, all I can... At the end of the day, like, you know, if you pray, if you bring good vibes, you'll be fine. Like, I do think so.
And also, if you're a good human being, like a decent human being, like somebody who died won't haunt you, hopefully.
Yeah, no. Again, like,
unless your, like, best friend dies and they start haunting you for fun.
And that's like, something that's scary. Like, see, that's why if someone I know, like, passes away, all I can do is, like, pray and know that, like, they're in God's hands. Like, you know, like, I don't want them to be staying here feeling trapped, or, like, feeling like they have to stay with me. You know, so that's why I think so. That's
or, like, a loved one.
I was gonna say something else.
Actually, no. This is something that happened, like, my senior year of high school, where my grandma was in her, like, last days before passing away, and the day she passed away, it was, like, early morning. My sister had a dream of my grandmother, like, saying, like, oh, I love you so much, like, take care of yourself, like, I'll be here when you need me, I'll see you, like, when I see you. And when my sister told that story, it's like instantly, like, she knew, like, oh, she died, like, she passed. And it's scary how, like, before someone passes, they enter in your dreams, and it's like it's also really beautiful because it's like you get to see them one last time. And that reminds me also of my dog. Like, oh my gosh, like, so when my dog was passing away, my dog was like he loved my dad because, like, that was his, like, the protector. Like, he was protecting my dad, like, that was his owner, you know. So when my dog was passing away, he was already in pain, like, he was, like, passing away, but he didn't want to, like, he didn't want to pass away. He was, like, fighting for his life while he was, like, in pain, because I think he had, like, something in his stomach. I was very little, like, he had, like, he was already, like, passing away. And then when my dad was working, so when he got home, he went with my dog, and as soon as my dog, like, got to see, like, my dad, then he, like, passed away. Aww. I know. No, but it's like, oh no, I know, because I feel like I'm gonna cry too. But I was so little, and I remember that happening, and I'm like, oh my gosh, because dogs are so loyal. They are. No, but yeah. Now I'm thinking of my dog, and I'm like,
oh,
I'll fight God if I have to. I'll fight God just to keep her alive.
Yeah, and that brings me to another question, but maybe this is another topic. But I read somewhere that, like, dogs don't go to heaven, and I'm like, that's not true. I was like, that's not true.
According to the All Dogs Go to Heaven movie, I disagree with that.
Yeah.
That movie made me cry, and I was like, no.
That's where I read it somewhere. I remember because when my dogs, because I had 2 dogs.
Someone must have hated dogs. Just to say that. I don't believe.
They were like, it's only for humans, like, and I'm like, what?
Wait.
No, I was like, no, because, like, I love my dogs. But yeah, I guess that's, I don't know. I've also seen videos where, like, dogs also come back to, like, maybe not haunt.
Reincarnation?
No, they, like, come back, like, as ghosts sometimes. I don't know, but maybe I'm just imagining. Also, that reminds me of, sorry, I'm just like all over the place.
So many things.
That reminds me of Dia de los Muertos. Like, I've seen videos where, like, when you make an altar,
something starts moving.
you can put, like, your dogs too. And I saw a video where someone put an altar and they put their dog, and, like, they were seeing stuff of their dog during Dia de los Muertos on that day. Like, I think, like, yeah, I think, like, I forgot what it was. They had a candle next to the little dog picture, and then when the owner was talking about the dog, the candle was, like, flickering, like, yeah, like.
Okay, that reminds me. I was on Witch TikTok when I had TikTok at the time, and there's this one thing, like, you can talk to your guardian angel, and you would, like, use a candle. It was something specific. I don't remember, but I remember, like, when you talk to it was either your guardian angel or to someone, then, like, the light or the candle just starts flickering.
Yeah.
And the candle, like, can either go really high, like, it just, like, torches up, or, like, really low.
Yeah.
And, like, that's how they speak to you. And it's, like, it's so weird, but it's, like...
It's cool. Oh, my gosh.
It is cool.
And I believe... Oh, my gosh. I do believe that I have a guardian angel. Like, I feel like everyone does, right? But, like, I feel like I've interacted... Or, like, my guardian angel's really there for me. Because, like, I remember one time... I was, like... I think I was, like, straightening my hair or something. And I used this little spray so that to heat protect it. And I dropped it. And it landed straight up. Like, it just landed like that, and I picked it up, and there was there was a scorpion under with its tail, like, up, like it was ready to bite. It was next to my leg.
So basically the scorpion caught it.
No, I really think my guardian angel pushed that, like, right there, so that, like, to protect me. And I've had, like, moments like that where, like, things happen perfectly, where I'm like, I know that was God, like, that was my guardian angel, you know, like, so
I feel like my guardian angel hates me for some reason.
Oh,
like,
no.
What? No.
But I think that's really cool. I don't know, but that's more not really a scary thing. It's more just, like, a really cool thing.
I think it's more spiritual too.
Yeah,
it's like everyone has one. It's just you knowing how to talk to it. I think. I don't know. I was on Witch Talk because I got really curious. I'm like everybody has a guardian angel. I thought God said it bippity boppity boo.
Oh, no.
Like,
I don't think. Yeah, but no, I think we covered a lot. So we did Mexico, Texas,
St.
Mary's, and then us.
Yeah.
I will say, like, it's interesting because when I went to Germany, someone from Germany had told me that, oh, like, here actually we're not very superstitious. No. So they're more like, it is how it is, like, things are just how it is, like, there's an explanation for everything.
When I lived in
Okay, so we're back. We are so sorry the camera ended up dying and it cut off, but we hope you enjoyed the first couple of video clips, and we do have all of the audio, and so I also hope that you enjoyed all of our little, like, stories. We kind of started broad, and then we went down to, like, our own personal stories and stories on campus. Thank you for being here and listening to us. Do you have any comments?
And if we have any viewers that would like to join us in our next podcast, or have any suggestions or ideas for us, you're more than welcome to contact us on our Instagram at Rattler News on Instagram, and you can definitely reach out through there and ask if you want to be in the podcast as well.
Yes, thank you. And please keep an eye out for the next podcast. Yeah. Bye.